Monday Night Football is upon us, and this might be the smash spot you've been waiting for all year from Josh Allen and a Bills offense that's stagnated quite a bit. Let's talk about it and identify who are the best plays on tonight's slate. Of course, Broncos-Bills, 20.3 implied points for the Broncos, 27.3 implied points for the Bills. It is a game, of course, where today I'm going to be building lineups 3 different ways. I'm going to hand build a lineup, I'm going to optimize some lineups. We're going to simulate some lineups, and over the course of that, we're going to find out who are the best plays, as well as find 3 takeaways to build unique lineups for tonight's DraftKings Showdown. Of course, 500K, it's a first place. But let's get into it, guys. I am sick. I feel like ass, but I'm still holding the football. No fumbles here. Doesn't matter how ill I am. We keep pushing forward. So you got to see on the thumbnail here, of course, I have Josh Allen looking beautiful on the screen. Big head there. Made our faces nice and large today. I think that this is the spot for Josh Allen to have the best day he's had all year. You can see it on the screen here. Of course, his point totals throughout the course of the year. He's put up 33 points, put up 32 points. We haven't seen that 40-point ceiling. Haven't seen him really smash it and have a great day. So I think in this spot for me, I think this matchup against the Broncos is one of the best ones that Josh Allen will face all year. So we talked about a lot with the Broncos. 2 things jump out to them, or jump out with their defense in particular. Number one, they don't defend motion plays very well. They give up a 0.27 EPA per motion pass, 0.14 EPA per motion rush. The Bills play motion plays, 28 plays per game. So that's a good amount of plays going on where there should be an opportunity for the Bills to take advantage and put it down on them. So that's one thing right away. But number 2 is that this Bills offense on the year just doesn't defend anything well. 6% passing touchdown rate, 406 yards per game allowed. 7.6 yards per pass. Everything is shaping up for this to be the Josh Allen smash spot. And one thing too, which of course I talk about and I'll promote a little bit more later, my app Probably, of course, you can get it for yourself at probably.com. We have the data we pull in from top sportsbooks around the world. And this is the first time all year where I've seen this particular prop where Josh Allen has a 66% chance of throwing for over 1.5 passing touchdowns today. So when you account for how Josh Allen plays, where he's running a little bit more, as we talked about, he's about 5 rushing attempts per game. But at the beginning of the year, we're seeing 6, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2. Last 3 games, 7, 7, 8. If he runs it just a little bit while throwing over 1.5 touchdowns in this game, there's just no way he doesn't make a winning lineup. So for how I'm approaching things tonight, I think that Josh Allen is a 100% play. I think he'd be a captain play, though I wouldn't play him 100% in captain. But I do think in this particular build, I am going to go with him at captain and see how we can do with that one. Spags flu game, yes, I'd like to believe that's going to make me better, but it just made me barely profitable yesterday while I was just as sick. So we'll push through it. And Shags, there we go. That's my new nickname here, Shags. Thank you, Obi-Wan. Appreciate you being here. All right, let's talk about the rest of the players who can plump into this lineup. Did I say plump into this lineup? Dump into this lineup would be what I would do. Stephon Diggs, we know he's the alpha receiver. We did see the last time the Bills had a good game. Did see a little more effort going towards Gabe Davis this way. Gabe Davis's route tree completely changed. That second to last Bills game, I believe that was against the Bucks. So in that spot, we did see a little more work for Gabe Davis. I think that Diggs and Gabe Davis can both get there in the spot. Obviously, you can kind of pick your poison, whichever Bills receivers you want to go with. And for a showdown slate in particular, where I do think Josh Allen is the sure thing, you kind of have to be willing to take whatever Bills receivers you get with them. So relative to snap counts, that could be guys like Diggs, that could be Gabe Davis, that could be Khalil Shakir, that could be Dalton Kincaid. Obviously, all these guys are equally valid plays at different extents. But Stephon Diggs, I think we have not seen the outlier day in a while. This is not the kind of game where you expect Diggs to have to really push it to the limit, which the one time we have seen him have a major game that would be certainly worthy of beating Josh Allen at captain. It was the 39-point game that he put up against Miami. The Bills, we know, struggle really a lot in pretty much every situation. Not a bad implied total for the Bills in this game with 20.3 implied points, a little bit more. You expect him, I think, to see in this spot against Buffalo. Buffalo's D has gotten a little bit worse, and Denver, hangs in games enough most of the time, I guess, that you can make the case that would be a reason why maybe Diggs gets a little more work. Either way, though, I don't feel the same level of confidence, again, as Diggs might have had against Miami. I still think Diggs is a great play, a guy who's due for a breakout game, and I think you could flip it, too, and put Diggs at captain. Would not be the craziest move in the world, but I think a Josh Allen captain's going to look good, and we'll see how that relates to the projections in the Sims coming up in a moment. Let's see. Yeah, so close to 3K subs. Get this done. I agree. Let's get it done, guys. I'm powerless in this activity. I've subscribed to Splashway from every account I have. But yes, please subscribe down below. Of course, you get content like this Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. every day, or 11:15 if I'm feeling sick and shitty. But that's how it goes here on Splashway. We always keep grinding here on the show. All right. So the run game certainly should have some opportunity as well. You would think if the pass game is moving the ball well. I think it's just as likely, though, that we do see some drives stall out by the Bills. I expect the Bills to be frequently on the Broncos side of the field. That, to me, makes Tyler Bass a strong play. $5,200 salary. It's not my favorite thing in the world to see. But Tyler Bass, certainly a guy that can kick it from 50 yards pretty easily. We saw yesterday kickers being a key part of a game where the teams were not that good on offense, but good enough defensively to kind of hold up, but still not good enough defensively to not allow the other team on their side of the field. So for this spot, I do think it's a similar thing where the Bills are going to score some touchdowns here, absolutely. But I think for Bass, him getting in there, all they have to do is basically cross the 35, and you're going to see Tyler Bass kick some field goals. So for Bass in this spot, I think he's a pretty strong play. Spags' nickname back in college was risen up the ladies. I wish college was fine. College was a fine time, but no, it wasn't to the level where I was being called Shags. There was nobody I really knew who was whatever. We don't need to talk. Nobody I knew was banging out that hard. And you got your little successes. I don't know. Shaggy. Yeah, Shaggy, great character as well. Love his big sandwiches too. And is, of course, talking dog. How could I ever forget that? Scooby-Doo, one of my favorite characters, in case you guys don't know. Gabe Davis, I'm putting him in here as well. I think, again, Bill's onslaughty level build is going to be there. I will put a Bronco in at some point coming up here, though we have now priced me out of pretty much everything. So I might not be able to do Allen at captain. Fuck. All right, let's go Gabe Davis at captain. We got to save some money here. I do believe that these guys are my favorite plays on the slate in some configuration. Gabe Davis obviously cannot afford to get all these guys in along with a competent Broncos receiver. And I do want to get Cortland Sutton here or Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, 6,800. Cortland Sutton, 7K here. Both guys have had some valid points to them over the course of the year. Cortland Sutton, Michael's chat. Shame that I don't even know what Riz means. Gassing you up if you want to go with another slightly more dated phrasing to go with. Davis over Kincaid. Kincaid's a fine play. I do think Kincaid, though, a little bit of a public play at this point. Again, both guys are equally as valid. The salaries being close enough. I'm going to put in Cortland Sutton just to kind of move this on. But Cortland Sutton, the reason I am going to put him in, a little more red zone targets for him, 1.9 red zone targets a game compared to 1.4 for Jerry Jeudy. That's enough of a tiebreaker for me, and being a little bit more expensive, I think people are going to land on Jeudy a bit more naturally. For Kincaid, though, I mean, Kincaid is just a little bit more expensive. So that's something where I'd prefer Gabe Davis. Davis, again, I'm really going with Davis's workload those 2 games ago, where he had a completely different route tree, was getting targeted pretty well, showed some usage that he hasn't shown in the past. So your mileage may vary. You could play Kincaid. I'm not going to begrudge it. I think the thing for me is with this game, I just expect Josh Allen to be slinging the ball around no matter what build you're doing. And obviously, you could take some contrarian ones, as we talk about a lot here for DraftKings Showdown kind of builds. It's just about building unique combos. It's not always about playing the best plays. But this is one slate in particular where I find it hard to believe Buffalo doesn't, I mean, let alone putting up the 27.3 implied points. I think they could put up 40 in this spot, and it wouldn't shock me at all. And I think that 40 can come, 4 touchdowns, 4 field goals kind of thing. I don't anticipate there being a lot of Bills punts. Obviously, games can get weird. The Broncos have shown a little bit of a dead cat bounce in terms of their defense and how they've been playing, where they're just so bad. But on the year, it's still a 0.13 EPA per dropback, 0.15 EPA per pass, 0.04 EPA per rush. It's just all bad news for the Broncos defense. And the Bills are a team that I think is just waiting for kind of a clean spot to get going in a major way. So that's why, for me, I think you could play whatever pass catchers you want. But in this build, I'm going Gabe. But yeah, Gabe, Kincaid, wouldn't really matter to me. So we can also, I think a Bills running back would make sense. We do have some salary to go around here. Samaje Perine, pass game work, maybe in the hunt. Latavius Murray can punch in a touchdown. I don't know if we're unique enough to play Latavius Murray here with $300 left on the table, but it is a single entry. So for a big tournament, I would imagine this one gets duped quite a bit. For a smaller tournament like this one, which again, this is a single entry huddle that I'm hand building for right now. I think this is a spot for me where I can go to Latavius Murray, leave $300 on the table. Is there somebody else I could trade down off of here? Sutton, because I feel like 300 even for a single entry, a little bit tight. Yeah, I mean, it's a single entry. I think that's what I'm going to go with. So let's go Sutton and keep it in here. $300 left on the table. This is going to be our team. Gabe Davis, the captain, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Bass, Cortland Sutton, Josh Allen, Latavius Murray. Allen's price tag made it a little bit too tough to get him a captain. I do think he is my favorite captain play. I'm going to find some ways to get unique and build that tonight. But obviously, Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid, Stephon Diggs, those guys equally valid captains. You can also go to the run game. James Cook's red zone work has not been great. Latavius Murray getting a little bit more. Leonard Fournette, we'll see if he gets active tonight. If he's active, that could certainly throw a wrench into the plans. but I don't know if he'll be called up from the practice squad or not. So a lot going on in this game that could definitely change, and you should be paying attention, of course, throughout the course of the day as always. But let's enter this right now. Shout out to Short Gamer, Millie Maker winner in the chat. Short Gamer, I know you should be doing with that $1 million. Going to probably.com/subscribe, and you can save 40%. No, but shout out Short Gamer. Short Gamer, it's nice to see success in our community, even if it's not me winning $1 million. But Short Gamer puts in the work. He's been in all these streams, or a lot of our streams, for a while now. So I know Stochastic as well, big guy over there too. So shout out Short Gamer, Millie Maker winner in the chat. Always nice to see guys like him and our various other friends here. Charlie, Line of Scrimmage. I need the real winners to come and chat, because for me, I'm just a dog and pony show. Top projected players here. Let's look at it right now. Cook is so overpriced. He is indeed. Cook is overpriced, but it is a good matchup for him. And if you do see this team build a big lead, maybe James Cook does get enough work to get there. I would still try to target the goal line work of Latavius Murray. I would also be willing to take the mystery box of Leonard Fournette if he's active. But I think for James Cook, like, he does have the best role here. He's still getting, 14.8 and 10 touches per game compared to 6 for Latavius Murray. But I do think Latavius Murray's touches are a little bit more valuable, even though on the year it is 1.9 red zone touches a game for James Cook compared to 1.9 per game for Latavius Murray. But with the price discount, I think Latavius Murray is probably a better play. Josh Allen, top projected play according to Stochastic. Stephon Diggs, number 2. Russell Wilson, number 3. James Cook, number 4. Dalton Kincaid, number 5. So there's an interesting pairing of guys there. I do think, for me, seeing Kincaid's projection, Gabe Davis a lot lower, I think that makes my play feel a little bit better, especially with not leaving a lot of salary on the table. Gabe Davis, I just don't think should be projected this lowly. I think we really did see a role change, and then things went bad for them, really badly for them against Cincinnati for the most part with what they wanted to do. So Gabe Davis being this lowly projected, he's projected lower than Khalil Shakir, which I don't agree with. I don't think this is a correct projection. What does ETR have for him? So Stochastic has Gabe Davis for 8.7. ETR has Gabe Davis for 11.4. So this actually is kind of an important thing where they do have Khalil Shakir projected for 8.5, but if you use Stochastic's data, you're going to get a lot more Khalil Shakir. If you use ETR's data, you're going to get still a good amount of Khalil Shakir, but you're going to get more Gabe Davis. So that is something to keep in mind if you are just using Stochastic data, which I still think is the one that I would use to try to represent the field more than anything. But I do think that has a pretty big difference between those two that you don't normally see. You're going to shout out everybody worshiping at the altar is Short Gamer. There we go. And it's funny. I mean, this shows you guys how it is, though, where Short Gamer wins $1 million and he's right back in here grinding showdown slates, grinding content the next day. That's the kind of man that I respect. So again, shout out to Short Gamer, and appreciate you guys being so appreciative of a man in our community, because the Squirt Squad, we all know, appreciate you guys who are putting in the work every single day. Top value plays according to Stochastic. Adam Troutman, he's going to come up in a lot of lineups here. He has a 22x value on him. He's probably a play that gets to a lot of lineups as a result. We will see in a moment. Lil Jordan Humphrey, Deontay Hardy, Chris Manhurst, Traquan Smith. Those are your value plays. Troutman, gotta imagine, gets in a lot. What were his snaps? They were on bye last week, so let's see what Troutman's snaps were the week before that. 58 snaps the week before. Troutman, it is a positive EPA matchup going against tight ends for Buffalo's defense. 0.01 EPA per target to tight ends. I don't know, that does a whole lot for me, but Troutman, he's a player. He's a player that's probably the chalk value play, but we'll see in a moment when we run the optimizer. And I did already pre-run the optimizer as well, so we'll see what the results are coming up in a sec. Top 5 owned players according to Stochastic: Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams, Dalton Kincaid. You see a pretty big ownership drop-off going to Russell Wilson, going to Javonte Williams, going to Dalton Kincaid, but a lot of ownership going to Josh Allen. He's projected to be the chalk captain. Stephon Diggs, though, also a little bit higher owned at captain. If I had to guess, I would think these guys get closer to 20%. We saw it last night. Josh Jacobs and Breece Hall, two of the obvious good plays on that slate. Those guys ended up being 25% owned each. So I think that does also lend some credence. Again, Gabe Davis captain, Kincaid captain, Hardy captain. I mean, Hardy's pretty thin, but Shakir captain. Like, I think that's where you can get a little more value on the field, but still represent what I think happens here, which is the Bills putting it down pretty hard. That said, it does seem like, based off of this, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, that is a lot of ownership going to these guys at captain. Am I late to late Short Gamer? Yes, you are late. He's already came a few times from all the filleting he's got going on. But yes, unfortunately you are. Low-owned players you can go to here. going to be under 10%. Jaleel McLaughlin, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy. None of these guys screaming out too much. Hardy feels like his role's kind of gone away with Shakir, becoming more of the established number 3 guy in this 11 personnel offense and no Dawson Knox. So I think that Hardy probably a bit less appealing than he will be psychologically for some folks, but a $200 salary is going to get into some lineups. Latavius Murray, I think, at under 15%. He's the play. I mean, I put him in my hand-built lineup. I think he's a very strong play to go to because of the red zone work, because of the goal line work. I think the Bills move the ball into the area that he needs to be in pretty frequently. And as a result, Latavius Murray, Tyler Bass, those guys I feel pretty strongly about. And Bass projecting for under 20% ownership. So I would highlight that one because if the Bills score a lot of points, even if you go with a really chalky configuration, just go into the kicker, could be a way to cut that ownership product. And I think people like kickers more in low-scoring games, but you should like kickers in high-scoring games because high-scoring games just mean that the offense is getting into their side of the field more frequently. If that's the case, Tyler Bass, again, is going to be able to kick field goals, 50-yarders potentially, and he could put up 15 points, and it would not be a shocker here. If he puts up 15, he's probably making that winning lineup. Do we see Fournette tonight? I don't think so, but I'm not really the most confident in that one. Do a pick'em card. I'm not going to do a pick'em for this one, Kyle. I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking. I will be posting a few of the best bets according to Probably data, so you can check that out. Those might align with pick'ems, but I'm trying to keep this a little bit shorter today just because A, I feel like ass, and B, I know that people like when the videos get a little bit too long, then I get less views. It's just this fucking push-pull of YouTube that drives me nuts. And also I just don't want to build a pick'em. That's how I feel about it. Top owned players according to the sim or the optimizer here, excuse me. Of course, Fantasy Cruncher, the preeminent optimizer to use. And what this is going to tell us here is what the math is going to push people towards. So it's not about the field's going to exactly play what these optimizer plays are telling us, but it's telling us what the projections are going to push people towards a little bit more naturally. You can see that right away. Adam Troutman making an 84% of lineups, as well as 8% at captain. I do not think that is a good play. Adam Troutman at $200. I don't think he's a free square. He could certainly get there, but I think you're going to get better results by probably playing somebody else. That said, I'll have some Adam Troutman, but I think if you're maxing out your salary and Adam Troutman's your $200 guy, you're probably in a very chalky configuration that could be easily duped by a lot of people. Stephon Diggs makes it in almost every lineup, 68% at flex, 24% at captain. Josh Allen, 64% at captain. Wow, that's a lot of Josh Allen at captain. Josh Allen makes every lineup. So if you wanted to be a hero, the play to make would be to not play Josh Allen tonight. Obviously, I don't agree with that. I think this is the best game environment he's had all year. But Josh Allen coming up very easily. And despite the fact that he's so expensive, the optimizer is pushing you towards Josh Allen at captain, pushing you towards Josh Allen in every build. So that is one way to make a hero ball play. It would be to play, I think, a lot of Bills pass catchers and not Josh Allen, but definitely something here with Josh Allen where he's going to be hard to avoid for anybody building lineups tonight. And obviously, it's not going to be a surprise to anyone. Oh, Tyler giving a UD slip for the people. So you guys can read it out for yourselves. I'm not going to try to say for this one, but you can see it on the screen there. Tail Tyler, he is a very smart guy. So if you want my picks, Tyler's picks are as good as mine. Absolutely. And Short Gamer did, in fact, use the Sims for that lineup. Sims, by the way, I know we talked about it earlier in the year with the QBs +3, QBs +2. Now is the time you want to play those QBs +3, QBs +2, because it is something where I got great results. My best team yesterday, and this is going to sound insane, was a Tommy DeVito single stack, but it was just because that allowed me to get CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, TJ Hockenson all in that lineup. And that's because, again, it's just about getting a stack that goes along with that stuff. Short Gamer, I believe, won with a Dak double. So, I mean, that's kind of same thing there. But really, like, I know we talked about in the past, so I just want to reframe that as well, even though it doesn't have anything to do with tonight's slate. Play more QBs +2, play more QBs +3 when you are playing the Sims. Because at the beginning of the year, that didn't have as much credence. Now that we have more than a half season of data, I think those major alpha stacks, along with a bring back, looking a little bit more valid in the Sims approach. All right. Interesting other things to note about these optimized lineups. We are getting, so that's crazy. We're getting a 5-1 Broncos build, but not a 5-1 Bills build, even though you do expect the Bills to be the team that's dominant here. So if you could find a good 5-1 for the Bills, I would certainly be willing to play it. It's going to be tough with all the price points, as we talked about. It is very expensive to get to the Bills players, but 5-1 Bills, I think, very much a valid play because it's not going to come easily on an optimizer today. We're seeing more 4-2s for the Broncos. You know, the Broncos are going to be able to move the ball a little bit. This Bills defense, as I mentioned, really bad defending out wide. Javius White went down. 0.38 EPA allowed to receivers out wide. That should benefit Cortland Sutton the most. Cortland Sutton on the year has 20 targets out wide compared to 10 for Jerry Jeudy, 6 for Marvin Mims. Mims would be kind of interesting one-off player in a 5-1 Bills build. So I'm sure that Mims' price is not too great. What is Mim's price tag? 3,800. Maybe. Just thinks this game is closer than people expect. If you think the Bills are going to be a disappointing team, you could certainly go that way. I just feel like this is the most utopian kind of matchup that the Bills are going to have all year. So I tend to believe in the Bills' upside if they do put the gas pedal to the metal. And I think this is a spot where they're going to do that. But they have disappointed lately, so I could certainly see why you'd want to go that way. Anything else to note here in the optimized lineups? Kickers coming up. No Tyler Bass. I think that's a mistake. Again, Tyler Bass to me, where I think it's an easy route for him to get 10 to 20 points in this game. And if he gets, again, halfway there, like 15 points, I think he makes a winning lineup. So I'm a big Tyler Bass fan, even though the price tag not that great. And defense is only getting one showing of Bills D. So Bills D, not that great. Broncos D, very much not great. The one thing the Broncos have going for them is that they blitz at a high rate. They don't get pressure on those, though. The Bills do get pressure. So if you're going to play a defense, I'd play the Bills D. But that's obviously nothing that's too sneaky there. Michael saying, love your content, by the way. Don't think people say it enough. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. I agree. You guys don't appreciate me nearly enough. No, everybody's in the chat. Like, I appreciate all you guys. It's just ultimately, if we're trying to get out there to everybody else, I do a hipster fantasy football show. So I'm happy to have all of you guys here. And I appreciate everybody who appreciates me. That's how it always goes in life. Top sim lineups. Let's look at them right now. Of course, if you wanted to pull these off the screen, you can. But the data does move around over the course of a day. So I would advocate it, as I'm sure Short Gamer would in the chat. Certainly pay for the sims if you can afford it. Great tool to have as part of your arsenal. And again, as the data start to accumulate, like, it's just a lot easier to build good builds no matter what QB you're putting in. Even I had a couple Will Levis lineups that still cashed yesterday, even though he was the fucking dirt worst. That's just what the sims give you. So obviously use whatever you can afford. That's always the thing I'm going to say, but if you can afford the sims, I certainly recommend doing it. These shows have really helped my Showdown play this season. Thank you, Spags. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. And our guy Tyler, Spags content is top-notch squirt stuff. If you're not squirting watching the stream, I don't know what you're doing. Top exposures. Let's look at that. So we favored our highest 150 ROI lineups. You're getting a lot of Dalton Kincaid. So chat, you can be happy about that one. Javonte Williams, 44% as well. So Kincaid and Javonte coming up everywhere. Javonte can punch one in. I just don't know that this is the right matchup for Javonte. Going against the Bills D, that on the year, 24% stuffed run rate, 14% tackle for loss rate. They do avoid some tackles, or you can avoid some tackles against them. 18% avoided tackle rate by the Bills is not great, but it is still one where, like, Javonte Williams has not been that elusive on the year. The workload has been kind of spotty. McLaughlin works in. Pirine works in. I don't know that I'd want this much Javonte, even though, again, he can easily fall into the end zone and that can make a lineup. But Javonte, I think, is going to be a tough spot for him because he just doesn't have the most juice on the year. And I think that's something where the Bills D is like competent enough against the run that I just don't expect an outlier from Javonte. But he can get in here. That's fine. Is it a Pirine receiving game spot? They defend running back passes really well. The Bills D does negative 0.24 EPA against running back targets. So that doesn't mean a guy can't get there, but it does mean that it's going to be less production you'd expect getting targets. So you could see Pirine, I guess, nickel and dime his way down, especially if the Bills put him in a lot of third and longs, and also if the Bills just pull ahead pretty early. So I do think Pirine's an interesting play, especially when you see this much Javonte Williams coming up. I think Pirine and McLaughlin become more interesting plays as a result. The snaps last time these guys played were... Let's see. Javonte had 45. Pirine had 17. And McLaughlin had 8. So Pirine, I would say, a more valid play than McLaughlin. McLaughlin has a little more touchdown equity. But I think, yes, you could play those guys, especially, again, when you see this much Javonte coming up. You play one of the other running backs, you're getting instant leverage on those guys. Let's see. Jerry Jeudy, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. So here are all the guys that we're getting above the field on. Getting a little bit under on Stephon Diggs. I wonder if that means we're getting more of him at captain. Yeah, so we are getting more of the field at captain of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. So Sim's saying that despite the high ownership for Allen and Diggs, they are still the optimal captain plays. What I will probably do tonight is knock up the amount of ownership going to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs at captain to try to make the Sims a little more representative, because I think the field's going to be on these guys 20 to 25% each. So I think that's still, again, still good plays, but it might change the Sim equation a little bit. Russell Wilson coming up at captain. A lot, actually. So that's kind of a surprise to see. Dalton Kincaid coming up at captain, 2x what the field's projected to be at. So that's interesting to note for all the Kincaid fans out there. Javonte Williams captain. No, thank you. Jerry Jeudy captain. Maybe. Cortland Sutton captain. Maybe. James Cook captain. Oh, man. James Cook captain's going to be pretty unique. It's not my favorite play in the world, but I do think that's one that could look pretty good. Javonte had 27 carries last time. I think 19 the week before. Volume has been there if the game script is okay. I get it. I think he's a volume back. I think he's a better volume back than guys that we know that I beat up on here, the Saquons of the world. But I do think for him, like, he can get games scripted out just because if the game's not competitive, like, that's not where Javonte Williams is going to be his most effective. And I think the Broncos' last 2 games have been competitive. So I don't know. If you think it's competitive, you play Javonte. If you think it's not competitive, I don't think you play Javonte. And I tend to err on the side of thinking the Bills could put up a lot of points fast, but that's what showdowns are for. It's like, just find your sliver of an angle and play it pretty heavy. Let's see. Top lineups that we can get for different captains. Excuse me while I hack up a lung for a nothing like a child in daycare. Always feels great. Gabe Davis. Let's see what a Gabe Davis captain looks like. Gabe Davis and James. Wait, is this the highest ROI one? So because it's stochastics data, they really don't view Gabe Davis as a good play. I think this projection's got to move over the course of a day. And if it doesn't, I think Gabe Davis is a tremendous play because of how he's not going to get played by stochastic users, which, again, that's a large portion of the field. Like, you go through any tournament, you're going to see an ungodly amount of stochastic avatars. So because Gabe Davis is so lowly projected by stochastic right now, I think he's a great play. Like, I just don't agree that he's going to be this low. The usage pattern for him was just so different 2 games ago, and they were trying to go back to it against the Bengals, just the Bengals shut everything down. So I think that Gabe is live to me, but clearly the Sims do not agree. Negative ROI in all of these, so there we go. Gabe Davis, Bills, Cortland Sutton, James Cook, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, 3-3 build. Meh. This one, Gabe Davis, James Cook, Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir, Diggs, Bass. I like that one more. I think it's got a higher likelihood of being duped, but you're not getting Josh Allen in that one, so that's kind of weird. Can we get one with Josh Allen? This one, Gabe Davis, Broncos, Dalton Kincaid, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Tyler Bass. Kind of interesting. You got your 1 QB. Russ does run a little bit more this year than it might seem in the past. Broncos D, maybe they get a pick on Josh Allen, and that's what makes their day up. Certainly can get there, but I don't love these Gabe Davis lineups. Kind of surprised. Because there's petri dishes who share germs to destroy parents. That is true. It really, the worst time too, because like I have to start doing TikToks for probably and shit, not dancing around or anything. And I think the TikTok algorithm penalizes you if you're ugly. And I do not feel beautiful right now. Fucking clammy. I'm like sweating while doing this video. It's like that cold sweat. It's awful. So kids, cute, not fun to have health-wise. All right. Who else can we look at a captain? Dalton Kincaid. You guys love Dalton Kincaid. Let's see what we get of him. Dalton Kincaid, Bills D, Cortland Sutton, James Cook, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy. It's interesting to note, if you get a Bills pass catcher, you're just not getting a lot of Josh Allen with the pass catcher. And I don't think that's correct. Like, I honestly might force Josh Allen to 100% of my lineups tonight. And I know there's ways that he could not get there. Even if the Bills have a great game, you could theoretically see guys like produce without Allen having enough points to get into a lineup because of his price tag. But I just don't think the Broncos are going to do enough to keep Josh Allen out of a lineup, but he's not making a lot of them. So that's kind of interesting to note. What are the Allen exposures? Josh Allen. Yeah, you're only getting Josh Allen with the top 150 lineups. You're getting him in 53% of them. So, or 63% of them, excuse me. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot of Josh Allen. I would force Josh Allen in. I would not. I just don't think there's a win that doesn't include Josh Allen tonight, but that's me. Wiggle that ass or max engagement. You should be dancing around if you want the views. I guess I just don't think my dancing would do a lot for people. I think if I had Luca out there dancing and maybe doing the picks for me, I could maybe dub my voice over my child, but then I'm really becoming a full stage mom and I don't want to be there yet. All right. Anything else to look at? Any other captains you guys want to see? One more call. Oh God. All right. One more captain. Who else can we look at? Who can get there? James Cook, maybe. James Cook, Adam Troutman, Broncos, Cortland Sutton, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. It's $50K in salary used, though. Gotta leave some on the table. I don't think that's not chalky enough. These builds, these sim lineups are not doing it for me, man. Kincaid, yes, here's your Kincaid lineups. We looked at those. Yeah, I'm surprised to see less Josh Allen in here than I would have thought. Cook, Troutman, Bills. I don't know. We'll see if the stochastic data moves because honestly, these guys are not doing a whole lot for me. But let's do the 3 takeaways here. I think we've covered this pretty well. And you guys, again, can go back and pause the screen if you want to see what the best lineups are. Please feel free to do that. But again, I wouldn't use them straight away in tournaments just because the data does move around. Like if they change Gabe Davis's projection, it's going to completely make these look different. Just something to keep in mind with that one. But your 3 takeaways to build unique lineups tonight. Number one is going to be quickly. Sorry, guys. Got to promote. Go to probably.com. Of course, right now, the best deal that I can offer with Probably is going to be that we're giving only Splash Play people, only people who watch Splash Play and engage with Splash Play, 50% off of any package right now we have at probably.com/subscribe. Of course, with Probably, what we do is we track the top performing sportsbooks around the world to find the true probabilities of every bet. And that's what allows me to find things like I was really heavy on the Bengals game this week and not on the Bengals side quite as much, just because of the fact that that game had some outlier markets. The alternate totals told me that the game is going to have some higher scoring. And I do that every week in the Probably email as well. But I really do think that this tool will help you with DFS. Well, also the main thing that Probably does help you get in good mathematically profitable bets with little or no effort. It is my baby. I've spent ungodly tens and tens of thousands of dollars on getting it out, and it is finally out. So please go to probably.com and check it out for free, or subscribe at probably.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SPLASH for 50% off. Just for Splash Play people is what that is. 3 takeaways. Number one for me, just fucking jam in Josh Allen. Like, I think really just do that. Like, I think that's the move. I'm a little worried about the Sims not pushing you there quite as much, but if the Sims aren't going to push you there, I really strongly believe this is the Josh Allen 40-point game. So for me, I'll be playing him a captain. I'll be playing him in a flex. But I think no matter what, like I would want to get more than the feel of Josh Allen. Even if you don't want to 100% him, I would try to get more than the feel of Josh Allen because I think it's just too uncomfortable to get there. But if it's uncomfortable, great. So you'll just get a low and cheap guy with him. And I think that's still a great play to go to. Number 2 would be play more Tyler Bass. Let's quickly go back to the screen because I'm actually should have looked up a Tyler Bass captain. But I imagine Tyler Bass will allow you to get in everything. And if he does hit at captain levels, you're probably building a really sick team. So Bass, Kincaid, Javonte, Josh Allen, Shakir, Russell Wilson, Bass, Troutman, Sutton, Cook, Allen, Diggs. I like this one a lot. I think Bass opens up a lot of things you can do. So I think Tyler Bass, to me, just a strong play to go to overall. So that's my takeaway number 2. And number 3 would be if you really want to go for the gusto, but enough of you guys in the chat believe this, and I think the field might play a little bit more. But projections will push you a little bit more towards 5-1 Broncos or 4-2 Broncos. So give you more Broncos than you probably expect. I think normally that would be the approach that you would think is contrarian, but based on what we're seeing with the projections, it does feel like you're naturally getting a lot of Broncos. So I would try to push more towards 5-1 Bills. Really, again, I think the Bills put up a lot of points tonight. If I'm wrong, come back tomorrow and you get shit on my face, metaphorically speaking. But I really believe this is a Bills breakout spot. If anybody's going to go the other way, and it does feel like the projections are pushing you the opposite way of that outcome, then I think you should be playing the most likely outcome, which is just that the Bills go off. The Bills are a great offense. They just haven't shown it to the full extent this year. But again, we saw what Miami did against Denver a few months ago. That's something where the Bills could absolutely do the same thing. Don't think they put up 70, but I do think they could absolutely put up a lot of points here. And honestly, they put up 40, 50, it just wouldn't shock me because I really think they could score pretty easily in this game and score fast at that. But that's all my plugs for here. Has to throw in the metaphorically, just in case somebody wants to come on the stream and think they get to shit on my face if I'm wrong. You don't literally get to shit on my face. I'm not a German whore. You can't do that to me. Only person between 200 and 1,400 is Sherfield. Does he show up a lot? We can look fast and see if we can find him. Sherfield has been a guy that's kind of come out for me where I did like Sherfield more early on. But I feel like with Shakir earning the role, Sherfield has kind of been more of a non-factor. But here's some Sherfield lineups. We get 1 out of the 150 has Sherfield, so not a lot of Sherfield. Khalil Shakir is just taking the role over too much, where I don't think Sherfield has a utility. Same issue with Deontay Hardy. Obviously, you can play these guys in Showdown, but I don't expect the biggest returns on that necessarily. Is there a German Horde DFS stream? I mean, I hope not. If there is, he's probably crushing me in views, but that's fine. That's how we do it here. Guys, please, before you go, make sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Tomorrow, best ball review show. And I got to tell you guys, I think we're going to have good news for that one. We'll see how tonight goes, but should be looking good for my overall portfolio. So I'm excited to talk about that tomorrow after taking my lumps the last few weeks. For some reason, I made some big strides on both DraftKings and Underdog. So we'll talk about that coming up tomorrow. Of course, follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Splash Play Pods, not Splash Play Cod. I'm so sick that I think our show is certainly suddenly a fish, and that's not correct. But follow the show at Splash Play Pod and come back tomorrow. Of course, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Splash Play. We march on here. I am going to keep showing up. Doesn't matter how much like ass I feel, how shitty, how sick I am. Football is here, and I'm here for you guys always. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Shout out to the Squirt Squad. Thank you to all these fine folks for helping us put on the show. And of course, if you want to get on this graphic, hit the join button down below. $4.99 a month. You get all this. You get these sweet credits here. You also get to support the show, and you also get my data sheet on the weekends when I remember to do it on time. So please make sure to go check that out here. And of course, hit that join button before you go. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. So enjoy your days. And if I don't take this down, I hope you do. Good luck. Bye.